Close my eyes, I open everything. Just in my head,
This is Sara Sharif, a 10-year-old girl with a bright smile and a love for singing. Carefree, full of life.
Sara absolutely loves singing and dancing, and one of the memories that will always stay with me is when she came. We'll always remember her as that really confident, very smiley, full of energy and life little girl.
On August 8th, 2023, a frantic 911 call was made.
I killed my daughter. I killed my daughter.
The voice on the line belonged to Sara Sharif, who claimed responsibility for the death of his 10-year-old daughter Sara. When the police arrived at the family home in Woking, Surrey, they discovered Sara's lifeless body. She was covered in bruises, with injuries so severe they revealed a history of unimaginable abuse.
Sara's young life was brought to an end as a result of the brutal abuse and unspeakable violence inflicted on her by Sharif, Batul, which Malik did nothing to prevent.
However, authorities soon found out that the family had already left the country, fearing arrest. Sara was just 10 years old when her life was tragically cut short. She brought light and joy to everyone around her. Family and friends remember her fondly for singing her heart out to her favorite songs, her voice filled with innocence and happiness. Music, laughter, and fun were the cornerstones of her young life. But Sara wasn't just about playfulness. She was also a budding artist with a deep love for drawing and dancing. She had a creative spirit that set her apart from others her age, always eager to explore the world around her. Yet, despite her boundless passion for life, this bright, young girl would never get the chance to grow up. By the age of 10, Sara had already endured hardships no child should ever face. While her family seemed to fit the image of a typical home, there were hidden shadows within it. Sara lived with her father, Sara Sharif, and her stepmother, Batul. Over time, subtle signs of distress began to appear, but no one could have imagined the nightmare unfolding behind closed doors. A seemingly normal life quickly spiraled into a tragic story of abuse, and it was in the place where she should have felt most protected that Sara's life would take its devastating turn. Sara's father, Sara Sharif, seemed like an ordinary man to the outside world. He blended in, kept a low profile, and didn't draw much attention. But behind this unassuming facade was a man with a deeply troubling past. Long before Sara's birth, Sara had been involved in a turbulent marriage filled with allegations of abuse and controlling behavior. Red flags that, in hindsight, should have raised serious concerns. Between 2007 and 2010, he was arrested multiple times following allegations made by multiple women, including Sara's mother, Olga Sharif. The accusations ranged from domestic violence to threats to kill, yet he was never formally charged. Sara's history was marked by volatility, and those who knew him personally saw glimpses of a dangerous temperament. His marriage to Batul, who would later become Sara's stepmother, only added to the instability. Together, they created a household that was anything but safe, a place where Sara's life would become a living nightmare. Batul, a woman with a mysterious past, was cold, distant, and unapproachable. Her demeanor often left those who encountered her feeling uneasy, but no one could have imagined the extent of the danger she enabled. Under the same roof as Batul played a complicit role in Sara's suffering. The details of their relationship with Sara were shrouded in secrecy, but the investigation would eventually expose the horrifying truth. Batul, despite being Sara's father, was revealed to be the primary force behind the abuse. His actions in Sara's final months reflected a level of cruelty that had been hidden for far too long. Batul, on the other hand, was not just a passive observer. Her complicity allowed the abuse to continue unchecked, leaving Sara trapped in a cycle of fear and pain. The household, which should have been a sanctuary for the young girl, became a prison of unthinkable suffering. But how did this abuse remain hidden for so long? How could a father and stepmother, who were supposed to protect and care for Sara, subject her to such horrors? On the outside, the Sharif family seemed to live an ordinary, quiet life. But inside their home, Sara was enduring unimaginable pain. It didn't take long for those around her to notice the troubling signs. Neighbors, teachers, and friends all saw the changes in Sara. She would appear with bruises, her once bright smile now replaced by a look of fear and uncertainty. Her teachers noted how she became more withdrawn and anxious, a stark contrast to the happy, lively girl they once knew. Eventually, Sara was taken out of school by her father, who claimed he would homeschool her. This explanation raised more concerns, but no one could have known just how deep the horror ran. The full extent of Sara's suffering was only revealed after her death, when medical experts uncovered the horrific injuries she had endured. Her body bore the marks of unimaginable brutality. 71 internal injuries, including severe damage to her vital organs. These weren't just random injuries. They were the result of ongoing, relentless abuse that had gone unchecked for far too long. The physical scars were devastating, but the emotional toll was just as severe. The once cheerful, creative Sara, who loved music, drawing, and dancing, was now a shell of her former self. It was as though the joy had been drained from her, replaced by a constant state of fear. The people who were meant to protect her had instead broken her spirit. The lingering question that haunted investigators was, how had this gone unnoticed for so long? How could Sara suffer in silence without anyone stepping in to help? And perhaps the most chilling question of all, how long had the abuse been going on before it ultimately led to her tragic death? On August 10, 2023, the quiet nightmare unfolding within the Sharif household came to a tragic, shocking conclusion. It was on this day that Sara's lifeless body was discovered in her home in Woking, Surrey, following a call that would begin to unravel the harrowing details of her death.
Take a deep breath and tell me what's happened.
I cannot. I physically punished my
Okay.
daughter and she died.
Your daughter has died.
I killed my daughter. I killed my daughter.
How have you killed your daughter?
I beat her up. It wasn't my intention to kill her, but I beat her up too much.
Irfan also left a note next to Sara's body. "I love you, Sara. I'm running away because I'm scared. And I swear to God my intention was not to kill her." The presence of multiple severe injuries on Sara's small body suggested that she'd been brutally harmed before her life was taken. The sheer number and severity of the wounds were unlike anything the authorities had anticipated. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community, who had no idea that such darkness was happening right under their noses. The police soon learned that Sara's father, Irfan Sharif, and his wife, Bainash Batul, had fled the country, taking their 3 remaining children with them. The family had boarded a flight to Pakistan, leaving behind a scene that could no longer be ignored. But the authorities were determined not to let them slip away that easily. The manhunt for Irfan and Bainash became a race against time. The big question loomed. Could the authorities track down Irfan and Bainash before they disappeared for good? And if they were found, would justice be served? The search was on, but the twists in this case were far from over. On September 6, 2023, a video emerged from Pakistan that immediately captured nationwide attention.
All the media have been giving wrong statements and making up lies. Imran did not give a statement that Sara fell down the stairs and broke her neck. Sara's death was an incident. All of our family members have gone into hiding as everyone is scared for their safety. Lastly, we are willing to cooperate with the UK authorities and fight our case in court.
As the promised surrender date approached, the UK authorities braced for an important moment. Surveillance cameras captured every detail as Irfan Sharif and Bainash Batul arrived, British law enforcement intercepting the couple upon arrival. In a matter of moments, they were detained. However, despite the earlier declaration of cooperation, both Irfan Sharif and Bainash Batul offered little more than brief, guarded responses when questioned.
What sort of things would Sara do to deserve a physical punishment?
सारा किस किस्म की चीज़ें करती थी कि वो जिस्मानी सज़ाओं की मुस्तहिक होती।
No. Okay. It says here, I did legally punish my daughter.
यहाँ कहा गया कि मैंने कानूनी तौर पे अपनी बेटी को
And she died.
और वफ़ात हो गई।
Okay. No. Explain to me what that means.
उसका क्या मतलब है?
No comment.
Please, could you introduce yourself? What's your name?
So my name is Bainash Batul.
And you are about to be interviewed for the offence of murder. What's your understanding of murder? What's your understanding of that offence?
Killing someone.
Yeah. Okay, so it's intentionally killing somebody, okay, in very simple terms, okay? That's the offence for which you've been arrested for, and that's the offence for which we're going to speak to you about, all right? What happened to Sara?
No comment.
What did you see?
No comment.
Whose choice was it? How you left Sara?
No comment.
You know, Dawn's just said, as you said in the video, you want to come back to the UK, clear your name in the UK courts. Well, here we are. This is the start of the process. So why would you not speak to us now?
No comment.
Who did that to Sara?
No comment.
Do you love Sara?
No comment.
Did you care about her at all?
No comment.
Their lack of cooperation raised pressing questions. What secrets were they so determined to keep hidden? And what did their evasive behavior imply about the true nature of the events leading to young Sara's death? After months of exhaustive investigation, the case finally moved to the courtroom. In December 2024, the trial of Sara Sharif and Manhunt Batul began amid intense public scrutiny and heavy hearts. The prosecution laid out a damning narrative. Expert testimonies detailed the long history of abuse suffered by 10-year-old Sara Sharif, and forensic evidence painted a grim picture of relentless cruelty hidden behind closed doors. When the jury finally delivered its verdict, the courtroom fell silent.
Sara's death was the culmination of years of neglect, frequent assaults, and what can only be described as the torture of this small child, mainly, but not entirely, at the hands of you, her father, Sara Sharif. The degree of cruelty involved is almost inconceivable. Sara was a brave, feisty and spirited child. She was not submissive as you wanted her to be. She stood up to you. You considered that her behaviour entitled you to chastise her physically, and I have no doubt that your ego and sense of self-importance were boosted by the power that you wielded over her and the rest of the family. Sara was only 10 years old when she died, and was 6 or 7 when your campaign of violence began. Fifth, you used weapons, including a cricket bat, a metal pole, a hot iron, and boiling water. Sixth, you also used restraints, mainly consisting of packing tape and hoods made out of plastic bags. I now come to the sentences. Sara Sharif. For the murder of Sara Sharif, I sentence you to imprisonment for life. Taking account of all the relevant circumstances and the aggravating mitigating factors that I have set out, the minimum term will be 40 years. Manhunt Batul. For the murder of Sara Sharif, I sentence you to imprisonment for life. Taking account of all the relevant circumstances and the aggravating and mitigating factors that I have set out, the minimum term will be 33 years, less the time that you have spent on remand.
For many, this verdict represented a long-awaited measure of justice for young Sara Sharif, a life taken too soon and marred by unimaginable pain.
They had dressed her in Mickey Mouse pajamas, and she had a quilt over her, but no mother should see something like that. One of her cheeks was swollen and the other side was bruised. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can see what my baby looked like.
For many, the conviction brought a measure of justice for young Sara Sharif, a justice that came too late to restore her stolen childhood, yet served as a somber warning to a society that often turns a blind eye to the suffering in silence. The story of Sara Sharif is not merely a tale of loss and retribution. It is a call to vigilance and compassion, urging each of us to look deeper and act when we see signs of hidden abuse. The shadows cast by this case remind us that true justice is a continuous pursuit, and that every small action might one day bring another life out of the darkness. Thank you for watching this video. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below.